Hey everybody, I am so excited to have you here. I'm Charlie Matthews. I am the founder and president of Empowering Pumps and Equipment. And I'm excited to talk with all of you from Europump. I guess we'll start by just introducing ourselves, right? So I'll start with you.
Okay, my name is Sönke Brodersen. I'm working for KSB, a pump manufacturer in Germany, based in Germany, worldwide operating, and I'm the actual president of Europump.
Frank, you want to
go Maybe next? I continue. My name is Frank Annenbach. I'm chairman of the Europump Standards Commission. I'm working with Sulzer in Germany for the last almost 40 years.
Awesome.
I'm Giovanni Lorenzi. I work for Calpeda in Italy, and I'm chairman of the SME Commission.
And my name is Robert Odan. I'm working for Wailo SE Germany, and I'm located in France, and I'm chairman of the Technical Commission.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And so I'm just going to ask you a couple questions, and y'all can jump in. Whoever, wants to start, just jump on in there. But first, tell us a little bit about the mission and the vision for Europump. What is it all about? How can people get involved?
Maybe I can start with it. First, let me introduce Europump a little bit. It's an umbrella association based in Brussels, which consists of national associations and their representatives. It's a club of about 17 national associations, 14 from European member states, plus Switzerland, Russia, and Turkey. And it speaks for around about 450 manufacturers with about 100,000 employees and a turnover or a production volume, I should be precise, production volume of about 17 billion euros. So it's a quite large association, or it's representing a quite high number of companies with a high turnover.
Awesome. So with that and kind of all these different pump companies coming together, what do y'all work on a regular basis in the meetings?
Well, to continue, I did not answer your question yet, but I'm going to do so now. The main issues is standardization, to be very honest, because our branch is highly regulated, because our products go into so many different applications, beginning with building services, water, wastewater, energy, production, and chemical plants, and so on and so forth, mining, you name it. And so we have to fulfill quite a large number of requirements from all these branches or applications, and which means that we have to obey these developments quite orderly in order to fit our products to the applications. So, but maybe I should continue with what our mission and our duties are. I mean, standardization, as I said, is a quite large an important issue, but at the same time, we are working also together with the Hydraulic Institute in the US on market estimations with Oxford Economics. That's an additional large portion of our work within Europump. And we are the official counterpart or association to whom the European Commission talks to. So we are quite important in all the legislation which concerns our products and our business.
Yes, and I think that, when I look at you from an outside perspective, just the work that you're doing in the Green Initiative is very compelling. And I know you've been working on it for a long time. How can other organizations kind of help with that? I think I saw Frank unmute. Did you?
Okay, Frank is starting.
Yeah, maybe I jump in here. So we have a close cooperation with Hydraulic Institute. So we try our best to align the efforts on both sides of the Atlantic, so that at the end of the day, the energy regulations are similar. Obviously, in an ideal world, they would be the same, but since we are not living in an ideal world, they are very close together, and we exchange the experience we have. We have the same test standard, HI standards, as well as the ISO standard we use over here, are on the technical side exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was one of the questions I had, right, as far as creating standards and working together. And I think maybe Roberto can talk to that.
Creating synergies with other associations, or
just in general, but
yeah, or in general, we and mainly with other associations. For one good example is that we are close with other associations for motors and drives, European Association, to think and to work on the circular economy. As this topic is really important for European Commission and European Union within what is called Circular Economy Action Plan for the next 4 or 5 years. And at this time, what we do is to understand how we can apply and what does mean circular economy for pumps or for our equipments, because it's a very huge topic and we have many different things inside, from increase the durability of the equipments, repairability, but also it can include a new business model for the future. So we find synergies with other associations through general topics. Like this one.
Right, like we're really focused on energy efficiency, right? And how are we going to move that needle, both in the US as well. Yeah, so I have a question. I'm supposed to know this, but tell me, Giovanni, how is SME Commission? Tell me a little bit about what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I started last year, so I didn't have a chance to participate to a meeting so far because of COVID. There should have been a meeting in Vilo in Dortmund this year, but we had to postpone it, unfortunately. And hopefully there will be a meeting next year. And yeah,
yes,
the goal
I'm claiming
is
that.
yeah, the goal is just to meet with the, of course, European people and people from the US during this meeting, and also visit some companies and some suppliers, just to share with all our people knowledge and maybe find some partnership, interesting partnerships. This is I mean, the goal of this commission.
Yeah, and I think that when we look at this, it's what we all need, right? To be able to work together and collaborate in order to build better, more efficient systems that work where we are. Like our communities are a little different, right? I've enjoyed the trains when I was over there in Italy. We were talking about that before the call. And we don't have that same capability, especially in the South. That's where I am in the US. But you know, how do we get to that? And part of it is talking about, you know, being efficient. How do we, you know, as a society, be more efficient and take care of our planet? What, I guess, as far as the initiatives that you have going on and being, I'd love for you to kind of go into that and talk a little bit and explain, you know, what are you working with or working on kind of with this green initiative, and kind of tell us that process. How's it been over the last decade, I guess, is that you've been working on it?
I think it's longer than just a decade. Energy saving and green issues, so to speak, was always in mind of the European pump manufacturers, because if we are talking about energy efficiency, it's part of our business model. The more efficient pumps are, the more the higher the value is of the products, the more reliable, for instance. And that's what always was in the mind of the pump manufacturers. And so it started already in, I think, 2009 roundabout, that Europump initiative of Europump was created to combine all the forces into with a focus on energy saving and also on recycling and all the so-called green issues which play a role for the application of our pumps and for our customers. And therefore we always had, we were actually almost ahead of regulation and legislation of the European Commission. That's for sure, and that's true. And I think that's why we are also highly welcomed as a partner in legislation on the European level as an umbrella association.
Yeah. So when you're deciding kind of what that standard is, right? You're talking amongst yourselves as members to set that standard. How do you know when to go above that, right? Like as a manufacturer, is that the competitive advantage is to kind of go above the standard, or are we all trying to get to the standard?
I think the standards we are working on is helpful for every manufacturer. Because it increases the value of our products if they are reliable and energy efficient. And that's why we introduced a specific standard for the so-called extended product, which is an entity of pump plus motor plus drive. And that's the one which we promised the European Commission to develop, because legislation always needs a standard to refer to. And it was a big work which cost us as the manufacturers in Europump around about €4 million to develop the standard which describes this extended product and which now allows to create from the European Commission and legislation for water pumps, which saves around about 5 coal-fired power plants, right from introduction of the new regulation. And that was a piece of work which where a lot of manufacturers were involved and where we had a very good cooperation and close cooperation with the Association of the Motor Manufacturers in Europe, and also with the drive manufacturers, which was a need and which was quite an effort for everybody to find a good common approach. And that's the most important standard which was created in the last many of years.
So I guess I'm wondering how we're going to continue that effort, right? So you normally would get these associations maybe to come to your meeting. Y'all would have kind of breakout rooms and discuss the different things. How are y'all still, coming together and talking during this time where we're more isolated?
Maybe I continue from my end. Yeah, we do pretty much the same as we do right now. We do it via video calls. And the discussion topics are quite clear. So it is not as efficient as a face-to-face meeting, especially when you discuss technical issues. You have to explain a lot, and it's much easier if you can use a whiteboard or something like that in a room to explain things than to do it online. But we have to get used to that. And it worked quite well. We had a couple of meetings. Europump had a couple of meetings already this year. Very much the same issues as you have in the US. No face-to-face meetings, a lot of travel restrictions. So we had our annual meeting online, and we had our autumn meeting or fall meeting about 3 weeks ago by now, online as well. So the cooperation online works, and we are set up for that. So we don't see any time delays or major time delays. Let's say it that way.
Right. And, I think that, as being essential businesses in general, we're still working. And so, I think about the testing and the things that may have to happen that will be more of in a plant situation or a testing facility. And those people or places are going to be still open for business, just maybe more restrictive in that space. What, you mentioned kind of working with other associations, and I think that the Hydraulic Institute's annual is this week, and next is kind of over through the end of the year because it's virtual. But what can we do? How can we really be an asset to each other? Is there anything that we can work on to kind of get that message out?
Yes, I think so. Sorry, Sönke. Because that's what we do. So we have representatives in the Standards Commission, for example, from the US. So usually they travel to Brussels or any place we meet in Europe. And on the other hand, we always have a delegation in the US as Europump. So Sönke, myself, Robert are attending the meetings on a regular basis. And I'm, for myself, can say that I'm member of several standard committees within the HI and representing the European point of view then. And it's a very open discussion, very helpful. And yeah, to be honest, I'm looking forward for the next meetings. So right after this meeting, I'm hopping right into an HI meeting.
Awesome.
And I'm really looking forward for tonight for the happy hour online. I'm not really sure how that will work.
Well, I'm sure it'll be really fun. So I think that's important. It is important to have fun and to network. This is the new way of networking and getting our initiatives passed and approved, and we're still doing business. We still need water and everything else that comes with that. And to take care of our communities, ourselves, we've got to look at new ways of doing that. What about as you're focused on these initiatives, how can we get that message out is it necessary to get it out to the public? What type of communications are y'all kind of to the masses, if you will? What are we trying to get out, or is it just more important to get into those kind of end users?
More a marketing question. I think last time we spoke about be more present on social media. We are trying to communicate more with the public because it's very important for us to be listened. And we have our website and we have some marketing stuff, but we have to be, we agreed last time that we have to be stronger in communication, and this is what we are trying to do.
Well, I think you're taking a good step in that direction, jumping on here with me so we can send out your message. It is important, right? And I was just watching the documentary Brave Blue World, and I think that is a form, right? A new documentary that's on Netflix of seeing pumps in action. And anytime that we can do that across the board, any industry, water is really special to me, but and that's because I think you got to have water to run any other industry. But anyway, seeing that and seeing it on, in Hollywood, I went to the premiere. It was like, this is what we need to do for our industry. I know baby steps, right? But to be able to sit and consume that with my family and they kind of get the importance of our industry is kind of next generation stuff. And we want to continue to push those topics and initiatives, and make it a big deal, because it really is, and have some synergy there. Roberto, you have anything you want to add?
Yes, we've been focused mainly on energy efficiency, but we have also at Europump, the technical commission, we work also a lot for we have today no harmonized system or regulation for material in contact with drinking water. And we've been in the last, I would say 5-6 years, we've been involved a lot in the revision of the Drinking Water Directive. And here we have been also, we are member of bigger associations where different European associations of equipments or raw materials provider are also involved to have more weight with the Commission and to be listened to by the Commission. If we go alone, Europump, we are not known we are known for energy efficiency for pumps, but it's more difficult to be listened for such topics. So we have created an associations with now more than 30 other associations, and it has been a big success because we have been able to influence the content of the new directive, and now we are waiting for the decrease and the lower level of regulation, but we are on a good way to find a good compromise between the requirements and what the manufacturers would like to have.
If you're talking about how to communicate, I should remind you about one speciality in Europe. Europe is not one country. And so neither Europump is just one association. There's so many national associations. For instance, I'm the chairman of the German Pump Manufacturer Association within the VDMA, and we do quite a lot of publications and creating and running conferences. A very large one. It's taking place every 3 years. And we are also using different channels to make us known in public. That's the German part, and I'm quite aware of that. The same is true for France, with the National Association and with the Italian pump manufacturers, and they're addressing the public in their own language. And so if you compare what Europump is doing as an umbrella association, you cannot compare it, for instance, with a national association like Hydraulic Institute. So that might explain a little bit the difference in public approaches with which Europump is dealing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we definitely have a different language. I'm in Alabama, so there's a different language here than there is in, say, New York. So we have a little bit of that, but we all speak English, right? And that's the language. So I can see those barriers and not necessarily barriers, but what you would need to create in messaging. So they would all be different to communicate that in that native tongue, for one. But then just even the importance level, right? The cultures and the different reasons to accept maybe the technology could be a little different. Yeah. So I could go on and on with you guys because I haven't been a part of your group, but I love the pump industry. I've been in it for 16 years now. And I think that being part of these organizations help us to learn and help us to, know how to help. We're storytellers as far as media and marketing. And so, how we get that information is talking to you and sharing the resources that you have to our audiences so that they can kind of pick them up and join in with you. As we kind of close, do you want to have any, last words of wisdom for our audience or anything?
Not a kind of word of wisdom, but I should remind that it's not just the European pump industry, it's not just the American pump industry. There's a big giant in the world. It's the Chinese pump industry. Mm-hmm. And it's obvious that a lot of green issues from the European Commission legislation are copy-pasted in China as well, and therefore also find its way to the Asian regions. And that's something which we have also a very close look at.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And really, we're working on this together so that we can all be better. Roberto, did you want to say something as well?
No.
You were just agreeing with me? I like that.
No.
Well, I'm thankful. I'm super thankful for having you on and being able to share a little bit about Europump. And I'll let you have a break so you can get ready for that HI meeting as well. And anytime that we can help share, I'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you indeed.